Welcome, friends, to Spill the Tea. Thank you for being here. My name is Meryl Catlin, and I'm here with our co-host, Guillermo Ione, our graphic designer at Make It Tea Online, and we are ready with Garrett Mayersohn to Spill the Tea 2025. Bum, 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 bum. We need the drum roll, please. With our mouse pad, Spill the Tea. Hello, everybody. This is our first episode of Spill the Tea 2025, where we get behind the scenes in the apparel industry and we spill the tea about apparel and anything about the printing industry. So we have as our special guest today, Garrett Mayersohn. And hello, Garrett. Welcome to Spill the Tea.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
And he has a store with us on our Deco Network platform called Love on a Roll. So Garrett, would you like to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
I would. Well, thank you, Meryl. And hi, everybody. I'm Garrett Mayersohn. And besides having a store with Meryl and Guillermo since 2021, I can't believe that. That's been a long time. But they're an amazing company, first of all. And I'm privileged that I found them and to work with them. They know my dad and some people in the community. But I have a disability called cerebral palsy, so that really inspired me to launch Love on a Roll in 2018. I started with an Instagram and all of that stuff, and I also had a project in college at Florida Atlantic University where I kind of did beta testing for it. The goal was originally to address the problem of dating with a disability and trying to dispel misconceptions that you can't date if you have a physical disability. A lot of people think that you can't date don't want to say regular people, but people who don't have physical disabilities or in wheelchairs. So I wanted to dispel that concept, but I'm also a disability advocate. So that's primarily what I stand for and what I do. Everything I do, I want to do with love.
Nice. Garrett, you're a college graduate. What was your degree in?
My degree was in interdisciplinary studies, arts and humanities.
Okay, nice. Was it difficult for you to go to college on a regular basis being in a wheelchair, or did they have areas for you to move on, or how was that for you?
Well, basically, it was a challenge to go through college. It took me a long time, about 5 years, but I got through it. But they did have programs and accommodations and rooms to take tests. Professors were really accommodating, so can't really say too much about it. Bad, negative. Accessibility was a challenge. I was stuck in the bathroom, freshman orientation.
You're going to save that story for a little. Aren't you going to save that story?
You asked. Essentially, I was dropped off for freshman orientation, and we were wrapping up, and I had to go to the bathroom. And towards the end, I was able to go in by pushing my foot to use the bathroom to open the door, but I couldn't get out. So that was like calling my parents and like, help, I'm stuck, can't get out, kind of thing.
So if you had an able-bodied girlfriend, she couldn't go in the men's bathroom with you anyway, right?
No, but when I had a girlfriend in the past, she was able to like text. There was a couple times where I had to use the bathroom, and she would let me in and then stand outside. Mm-hmm. When you're done, she would like text me, "Are you done?" And I'd say yes, and she'd open the door, and So I have had that when I was dating girls in the past.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and that is like really kind of why you had your mission, I'm assuming, right? So that that you would be able to, I guess, lead a life that is more normal because of having an able body. I hope I'm not going to say anything that is going to be upsetting or anything, but I'm assuming that, that's part of the mission, is to show people that you could lead a normal life, and having an able-bodied partner is a benefit, right?
Oh yeah. And when I started Love on a Roll initially, I was single. Like I never had a girlfriend. I always wanted a girlfriend. I didn't really start dating until I was after college, but I knew that a lot of people have misconceptions. Um, and the world, as well, I don't want to say the world because I haven't been around the world, but the community that I faced, and South Florida and places that I've been to, they're not as accessible, and people don't design things with people with disabilities in mind, especially people with physical disabilities.
Mhm.
So that is something with Love on a Roll. It started with dating, but I also wanted to show as a disability advocate that you need to have awareness, and you need to design things that with people with disabilities in mind, because people with disabilities are the largest minority group. You can anybody can have a disability, whether you're regardless of your race or religion or whatever it is. You can have a disability at any time. So it's important to forget about that. It's also important to think about people that are older and want to age in place and stay in their homes, and you know not go to an institution.
Mhm.
Um, so I wanted to show that in general as a disability advocate, but dating was a huge part of it, um, because having an able-bodied partner is a huge benefit.
Mhm.
Um, Not that you can't date somebody who is in a wheelchair, but so many benefits to being able to attract somebody who is able-bodied,
Mhm.
um, for a variety of different reasons. I can get into it whenever you
Mhm.
want,
Yeah.
but there's a variety.
So I think so. I mean, I know that when we first built the store, Guillermo and I both talked about that we really liked the name of your store, of your mission, of your nonprofit, Love on a Roll. I mean, it says exactly what it is, And how did you come up with that, or did you come up with that, or?
Yeah, I actually did. Well, first of all, I want to just say, it may seem like we're a non for profit, but when I registered the business in April, we're actually an
Oh,
LLC, limited liability. Um, because as much as I want to give back to people and have all that, there's a lot of things that are involved in a non for profit, but LLC seemed like a appropriate for a start, just to gets first of all make this, not to be selfish, but of course I want to make a living.
mhm.
So some things has to be for profit. The other thing is, like I said, there's a lot of things that are involved in a non-for-profit. So LLC seemed like the most simplistic and structure for the business.
Mhm.
But when I formulated the business, it was because, first of all, there was no business when we first started the store. Love on a Roll was an ode to everything I do with love, and I want to be loved, and I want to give love back, and I'm also on a roll. I always said that's how I roll, and the fact that I have a power wheelchair, I always wanted to say, yeah, I'm literally on a roll, both metaphorically and physically.
Okay. I love it. I love it. Well, that just goes to show that you are creative as well as smart, and so that's part of having a business. You have to be creative, and I just love it, and it just flows so easily. Love on a roll, and it just is.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the logo I can't take credit for, but my mom's art department designed it, but it came out beautifully.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love it.
I like how this started. Basically, you wanted to get girls, and now it's it's now more than that. I love that, Garrett. I love that.
Yeah,
You're real.
when I first started Love on a Roll Gamero, I was a 20 something you
Yeah,
know hormonal college student that was
yeah.
like, I want to get girls.
You're real, man. I love that. I love that.
Isn't that why?
Yeah.
Isn't that why guys start bands too? Like to get girls.
You basically are a rock star.
Right, right.
Essentially, that's how it started. I would email girls that I knew surveys, and I would say, are you single? Their email addresses and stuff like that. Then if they were, regardless if they were single or if they weren't, I would say, would you date somebody with a in a wheelchair? Why or why not? Or with a physical disability? And they would say, yes, I would. And I was like, oh, so you know. And then you keep reading. They're like, I would, but I have, this or that, or
I love that. I love that, man.
stuff.
And this, I mean, it started like that, but now you're trying to build a business and at the same time helping others and putting yourself out there, breaking stigmas, breaking misconceptions, and I admire that of you. That's real hard.
Yeah, yeah. I love.
Thank you.
I think people will watch this just say like, "Hey, we should put a little thing in the description of the podcast, how to get girls." Right. Right. Oh my god, I love it. I love it. So
If it was a thing back in, like it was back in the 90s, maybe I would have had like a video dating service for people where they could submit videos or whatever. But we don't do that nowadays. That's not so popular.
no, wait, what's the dating thing now? What besides sending videos? I thought you're supposed to pictures, videos. No.
Oh, that it's mostly like you look at pictures and you swipe, or you meet. I'm doing speed dating in a few weeks. That's something I never heard about. I always heard about doing it, but I never did it. Didn't know it was a thing today, but I found a speed dating company that does it. But mostly now it's just you meet people online, you swipe, or I mean, if you really want to be adventurous, you have to go to clubs and all that stuff, and you know, late at night, put yourself out there, and that's not something for me.
Right.
So online,
Right. I
it has to be online or speed dating, or if you know somebody in college, like I have in the past, or through friends of friends.
Right. Right. Well, look, you have a business, you have a website, you have a podcast. I mean, you got it going on.
And a really good sense of
You had
humor.
a good sense of humor, a college degree. I mean, you know, you got it going on. So and
Yeah,
you're the expert on dating. So any girls who are
oh,
watching this podcast who are interested in Garrett, just put it in the script, put it in the comments.
yep. I'm 30 years old, so somebody within that range, like mid 20s, early 30s, or yeah, somewhere within that range. But I'm also, we'll talk about this later, but I'm also looking for customers. So anybody who needs a product from the store or a service I'll talk about later, please put that in the comments, or I'll give out my contact information at the end of the podcast.
So Garrett, okay,
Okay,
I'm sorry, Garrett.
let's talk about it now.
Yeah, let's talk about it now.
Okay, yeah, this is unstructured, so that's fine. So basically, the store has, which we can pull up a screenshot for you and post, so hopefully you'll be seeing this. But there's a variety of different products. There's the most popular one that Meryl and Guillermo and I talked about last week, which was the butterfly one with the poem. Um, I'll do a video on my TikTok, which we'll put that link in the description. So hopefully within the next week of this podcast coming out, by the time this podcast comes out, hopefully the video will be up, and you'll see me reading the poem. But that's one of the most popular ones. There's sweatshirts. There is, which I'm gonna buy myself. I told Meryl I thought that was a good idea because it's really cold in Florida now, by Florida standards. And then there's coffee cups and all of that stuff. Just a variety of things for everyone. So you should find what you're looking for through that. And then my services, I'm looking to provide peer mentoring if anybody needs it. If you have a disability and you're looking to help people with disabilities better, I provide peer mentoring. I also provide certified aging in place services for people with disabilities and the elderly who are looking to live independent lives and stay in their homes. I'm looking to provide speeches and workshops, and I'm also looking to provide also dating services as well, for people that need help. I'm gonna do online mixers is my plan, and maybe some in-person mixers once we get some money. And I'm also looking to offer disability consulting as well. If people need buildings that they want reviewed or stuff that they want installed in there, or my opinion as a wheelchair user, and I'm looking to also help with the housing problem that we have as people with disabilities, and build more houses that are accessible and completely barrier free. So I don't have the the physical expertise for that, but I'm looking to partner with contractors and architects and designers who can help me with that, and hopefully make it more affordable for people.
Can I ask you a question? Do you know if contractors, I know they have to take tests and everything to get their license. Do you know if there's anything in their test that has to do with making accessible homes and accessible buildings?
I don't, but when I talk to architects and people in the construction field, they have very limited knowledge of it. They say they sometimes they do have people that are able-bodied that sit on their teams that are familiar with the ADA. But remember, the ADA is just for public buildings. There's also law. There's no really, there's basic things for private homes like houses, but there, ADA is just really the main law, and there's also the Fair Housing Act. But from what I from what I've heard when I talk to these people, they don't really have much knowledge of the architects or the contractors. There's only one person that I worked with that has or had the full knowledge of it. So not a lot of people do. So that's the value that I do. I can provide my knowledge and perspective, do walkthroughs. But someone also told me a long time ago, and I never followed up on it, but I should call the American, I think it was something to do with the Architectural Institute, and make sure I can help them with any educational stuff or give workshops. So I want to do more of that stuff. So I have to follow up with people like that. And if anybody watching has any experience with that or connections with that, definitely let me know. I definitely want to get more involved in that because there's not much education out there, unfortunately, which there should be. We're living in a world that's not really designed for people with disabilities. It's just like we're adapting, and slowly but surely they are catching up to us. But there's still a long ways to go. Like, I'm living in my mom's house because forget about having the money. It's you can have the money, but you have nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. Right,
So
right. And she's in I'm assuming, a one-story house.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's a villa, but yeah, 1-story
Mm-hmm.
house.
Okay. Okay. And did she have to make that accessible for you, or modify it in a certain way?
Yeah, some of it she did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the bathroom she had to modify, and she had to modify. We have a lanai that had like a step down, so she had to level that out and everything like that. So yeah, these houses are not you know built accessible, and they should be. That's something. So like Guillermo said, it started out to get girls because I was a hormonal teenager, and then now I'm realizing as I've have more years as a disability advocate, there has to be more that I do, and I believe that this is a God-given purpose. Like God literally came to me in a dream and told me that I need to be doing this, and this is why he put me in this situation. Um, is to make this difference because um, this needs to change.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to change. Um, I think the ADA, it hasn't been updated since 2010, 2011, back when Obama was president. So there needs to be Congress needs to take up not as soon as possible. Um, you know, anything they can do to revise the ADA and other existing laws, and maybe make new laws too, to ensure that we have more accessibility in place. Because there's a lot of things that they can do to help people with disabilities in this country, and I hope I can, as I gain more traction through podcasts like yours and everything else that I do this year, I can start to gain traction to advocate for that and really be on the forefront of
Mm-hmm.
that.
That's going to be great. I know you're going to do it. And sometimes,
Yeah.
not to make anything light, but when you approach people with something very serious, and you start out with your thing about love on a roll, trying to get girls, it kind of like it breaks down a little bit of the sterility of what you're talking about. It's like you start out talking about that, and then you get into the real, meat and potatoes of what your business is, and what your mission is, and what your purpose is, to do. So one thing leads into another, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's kind of like the smile that attracts you to somebody to begin with, and then you get to know them better, and then they get to really know who you are and what you're doing. And and it's not all about love and fluff, but it's about something that's really more important. How has how's the response been to the disabled community of Love on a Roll?
Um, of Love on a Roll, oh, so far we've really been embraced. Um, obviously, I would like to see the sales in the store increase, but we've really been embraced, and people think it's a good thing that we're doing, and I'm constantly online talking to people with disabilities, or I'm having Zoom calls with people that I meet on LinkedIn that is in the community and beyond. And I've been on podcasts, um, especially um, before launching the company, but then after the company, I've started to be asked. It's funny, people told me that having an LLC behind Love on a Roll would be more powerful than just having Love on a Roll and not having a company, and just operating as a brand and an idea and a concept. But I never believed that it would result to where it's to the power that I have, where people say, "Oh, I have a podcast. Come on my podcast." Now, I've known you guys for a long time, so I'm sure you guys would. But every other podcast that I've been on, I don't know if I would be on that podcast if it wasn't for the fact that I had a LLC behind my name. Um, I didn't realize how powerful that would be, but I'm glad that I did that last year, and I'm hopeful this year will be much more um, of a really wide movement from the disabled community, and really take my help with services and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I've been blown away by the response to my podcast and stuff like that. People say my podcast really helps them, and I'm really glad.
Right. Well, anything that you put attention to is going to grow. Anything that you nurture is going to grow. And if you feel better about something because of making it a legitimate business as opposed to making it a kitchen business, then of course how you feel about it is going to show in how you react to your company. And am I making sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it feels more official now than it did before.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Um, do you have any testimonials about people that have that have worn your shirts, engaged in your brand? Has anybody commented on people? Do you have any information about that?
Oh, yes, I do. The shirt that you guys like with the butterfly, I've gotten so many positive comments from that one that says they really like the poem, they really like the message, they really like the vibes. Um, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but there was one person that I can share who was going through a rough time in her life, and she said that poem gave her inspiration and encouragement, and that really made me it really made me cry to hear that, because I didn't know that sure would make such a positive difference like it is. And for me it was personal, because it is based on my first love, who unfortunately passed away in 2021, and that the whole concept of that shirt was inspired by her. So um, just to know that I can carry on her legacy as well as the legacy of Love on a Roll, and she was a huge supporter of Love on a Roll and what we did and everything like that. Probably the number one first supporter. So to know that it's helping people like her, and that who is going through a rough time, and to know that poem really gave her the courage that she needed to get going.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Do you know the
That's
poem by memory?
I wish I did, but I don't. I should work on it.
Right.
I I know the general. I know the general concept of it. It basically talks about love in various forms. Love in love in people, and love in animals, and love in um um just love in various states, I guess I could say it. And I'll read the poem in the talk video, but the general gist of it is just love in various states, and it's got a butterfly on the shirt. And I always believe that love, and I don't know if it says this in the poem or not, but I always believe that there's no greater thing you can give someone, and no greater thing that can be on this earth than love. Like, there's nothing that is going on in our society and world can be um, broken if I don't know if that's a good word, but nothing in this world can be so bad as long as you have love.
Yeah.
love is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Love triumphs over hate every time. So
Mm-hmm.
so if we can just remember that, I think that we'll be good as a society, and that's why, as Americans, I believe we can continue to make a positive difference for people with disabilities. I'm not trying to be, and I don't want anybody who is watching this to think I'm trying to be political under any circumstances, but because this is really supposed to be a bipartisan issue, and a common sense issue. I mean, regardless of what your political affiliation is, watching this, I'm sure you can agree that you want to be taken care of, uh, even if you don't have a disability. You want to be taken care of when you get older, and by taking care of people with disabilities, we are setting up the foundation for taking care of the elderly and taking care of you when you get older. Um,
Are you worried about that,
I mean,
Garrett? Are you worried about that when you get older?
um, I'll be honest with you. Right now, I am a little worried because I I I would like to get a house, and I have the money saved up to get a house, but there's no opportunities on the horizon to get a house, and so I'm looking into affordable housing, which is not in the nicest of neighborhoods and stuff like that. And I'm you know my just the idea that I may have to go to a group home and not be able to live in the community. That's what scares me more than anything, because I want to be able to live in the community. I know I
Mm-hmm.
can. Some people with disabilities can't, and they have to, you know, live in a group home and that supported environment. I don't have to, but I'm scared that I will if no other options present itself.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, I mean, I know that there are plenty of people that live in group homes. I have a cousin who was in a group home for a while. He's in his own apartment now. Um, and yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, but he has a job because his family gave him a job. So he has the money to, to have his own apartment. Um, and I think he did okay in a group home, but it's much, it's like you don't have privacy, and you don't
Right.
know who else is going to be in the group home. And that's another thing. You don't know these people. So,
And not only that, but I lose. I'm pretty sure that I lose my aid that I have right now, and I've had my aid for 9 years,
mm,
and I really love him. He's like a brother to me, and
hmm
he may not be able to work in there. So
hmm
but I know I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm very connected to God, and I know that God will, I do have fears, but I know that God ultimately will provide for me, and God will, you know, not, if He wants me to, live in the community, that He will provide for me,
hmm
and He will make sure that I can do that.
Okay, well, that's a really good attitude. I think that one of the things, like as people get older, anybody who gets older, has to deal with loneliness, and that is a killer right there, is loneliness. And it's very, you look at elderly people who are by themselves, who, don't have their family around or anybody to take care of them, or to even just check in on them every day with a phone call or whatever. And I kind of like these senior communities because there's a lot of activities for people, and they have an opportunity to be part of things. And you make fun of them, like you're driving to the old age home, but it's really it's a good place for them, because they have so many things to do there, and they don't have to be alone if they don't want to. Some people I know choose it, but they don't have to be. So, so what do you think that? Well, first of all, does your aide, does he wear a Love on a Roll shirt? He or she wear a Love on a Roll shirt?
Oh yeah, I'll tell you, he bought my most recent shirt for me, the because he came up with the idea, the why not love most recent one. He bought that one, so I'm happy for that.
Okay. Okay, good. Now the other thing is,
I'll have to take a picture of him when I
okay,
get there.
yeah, yeah, that'd be good if a picture of him next to you. You know what? The thing is, like, so your back is always against a wheelchair, so your designs have to be on the front of the shirt. Sometimes people don't even think about that. Like, let's say you're going to get a shirt.
I didn't think of that.
Yeah, yeah, like a birthday gift or
Yeah,
something. Like, oh, I can't see it. It's on the back. That's like not good.
yeah. Nobody can see what the back of your shirt says. Sometimes people, I don't remember how they do it, but sometimes people have saw something that was on the back of my shirt, and I'm like, well, good for you, but I did not see that because I only saw the front of it. So they say, oh, your shirt on the back says that. I'm like, oh, I did not know that.
Right, right. Or if you hang something over the back of your wheelchair, you can have like a drape on the back of your wheelchair that has the back of the shirt, or put the shirt on the back of the wheelchair, right?
Yeah, I saw something that said I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but apparently you can have like paid. Some people with in wheelchairs have like paid advertisements that they tape onto the back of their wheelchair, and they have that. So I'm
Mm,
like, how do I do that? That would be
yeah,
good because I'm always out of Publix or whatever the case is.
yeah.
So if I had something that's like love on a roll and
Mm,
on the back, and people would say, "What's that?" and be good for me to stop and have a conversation with them.
yeah. Put a
Um,
QR code on the back of your wheelchair. Give it out to people, right?
yeah, you guys are the kings of that because I was familiar with the QR code, but I remember in one of the um, a couple of things that I picked up from the store. I think it was in 2022. You guys gave me a card with a Love on Roll logo
Mhm.
that included the QR code, and I thought that was brilliant. But I'm like, I would not be able to do it if it wasn't for these guys. So I have a lot to learn from you guys.
Well, the thing is, we listen to you, and so listening to you gives us inspiration to do what we need to do to help you and to help our stores. I don't, like a lot of people, they have stores with other platforms, but there's really nobody to talk to if there's a question, or if you want to do something, and if you want to make a change, or if you want to add something. And I feel that that Guillermo and I we're really invested in your mission and your store, and as well as the other store owners that we have. We like that each one is different, and each one has their own vibe and creativity. And I think, like, how you want to make a difference for people, as creative people. I think I know that Guillermo and I want to do our job, that we know something that's easy for us to do is to be creative. It's not easy for other people to, it's not easy for people even to see sometimes our visions. But when we get the right information in, and of course that's the right information, not the wrong information, we're able to kind of look at things in a little different way. And Guillermo looks at things differently than I look at things. So you
Yeah.
get the kind of the best of both worlds here, because it's two different views, two different generations, two different all kinds of things. So it's that's good, for you, and it's good for our customers as well. um
Yeah, I will do a shameless plug for your company because I'm not a graphic designer by any means, but I like how I can articulate my vision for something, and then you guys will send me something back and say like this, and I'll be like, perfect. I don't know how you did that, but like exactly like that.
Guillermo, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like to talk to you, Garrett, is what Mary says, the inspiration. Every time you have some ideas and you talk to us and we give you some feedback, and in that feedback come up a great thing, a great idea for the future or for your store. Um, I really like what you have in mind in your plans for the future. The podcast, the TikTok page. Well, let's hope TikTok stays in the US in the coming days. But
Yeah, please.
yeah, I really like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just started making money on TikTok too, so I hopefully it definitely stays. But if I appreciate that, and I think you may have wanted to know like how I come up with the inspiration for some of my designs, and I just either I have a vision in my head or I just get input from like my aide or other people, and I say, oh, that's a good idea, because I can't draw it or anything. I just articulate it to Meryl and or you Guillermo, and you guys go away with it and come back with a masterpiece. And that's why everyone that's listening, I'm sure you guys already know how great Meryl and Guillermo are, but they really are one of the best vendors that I've worked with. The first vendor and the only vendor, well, the second vendor and the only vendor that I will work with from now on, because they really know how to articulate your vision, and they are awesome, and I can't recommend them enough. And I will probably be with them from now on until the end of my
Oh,
life.
thank you, Garrett. That makes me feel really good. I
Good.
really,
I
really.
have a TikTok idea for you.
Oh, good, good. Well, that's the next.
You said you said you said you're going to a speed dating in the coming days, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the poem in the coming days. Yes.
No, speed dating. You're going to a speed date, something like that. I don't know. I never
Oh,
been in a speed dating.
yeah. Yeah, I'm going to the event on I don't know when
Well,
this podcast.
I never went. I don't know if we have that here in Venezuela. So I would like for you to give me a review. So the idea for the video will be like record yourself before entering the speed dating. Your thoughts, like I'm nervous. You're real, man. I know you will say I'm really nervous. I don't know what to expect here and this, and then record yourself after, saying what was it like to be in a speed date.
Oh, that's a good idea. And next month I'm going next month. As it's Valentine's Day, so that's perfect. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely gonna
And
do
I'm
that.
sure we can come up with a T-shirt design for that experience.
Right.
I'm sure. If there's one team I trust, it's you guys. So
Yeah, I was like thinking of when you were saying speed dating, like how fast can your chair go, that kind of a thing, like
oh, it's funny, Meryl. People ask me that all the time. How they joke with me. How fast does that thing go? And there's really no speed limit. It doesn't go really fast because every wheelchair race that I've ever done with somebody, I've always lost.
wheelchair.
So I guess they're
Wait, did you say wheelchair race? You've done wheelchair race?
yes. Oh yeah. Oh
Is
yes.
that like a thing or is that a boy thing?
Um. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's a. I guess it's a thing because um, people have say I'll race you or whatever. So it's not just me guys, but it's been a thing. Um, from as long as I can remember.
How a wheelchair race start? Like you look each other and says, "Let's go," or
Yeah, yeah. Just someone says I'll race you, and it's not just people in wheelchairs. By the way, it's people that could be able-bodied, not in a wheelchair. They'll be like, I'll race you, and like kids or anybody, and then it's not like I'm trying to let them win. They're just beat me all the time, so it doesn't go as fast as people may think it does.
That's funny. I think that's a boy thing. That's got to be like when you pull up to the stoplight and you're like, vroom, 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 that kind of thing. I don't see.
yeah, that's the first thing I it come up to my mind. But in a red light, two cars. So I guess I don't know, in a Walmart, in the middle of the hallway, two guys with a wheelchair saying, "Let's go."
Now that
That's a good concept for a YouTube video. Fast and Furious.
yeah,
wheelchair edition.
Yeah, that would be, now that would be, you should do that on TikTok. Can't you like you can like put two people together on TikTok, like you're doing
Oh,
what's it called? Like
you
a
can
stream
stitch.
or something?
You can stitch
Yeah.
it if it's still on. Yeah, if the app doesn't get banned on the 19th, which please I hope it doesn't, because I'm just starting to make money. That's a good concept.
Well, then it'll have to be an Instagram idea or a Facebook idea or something like that. So
Or
Yeah.
or a YouTube idea.
so what challenges have you faced in promoting your brand, and how have you or are you overcoming them?
Well, I think the biggest challenge is um, with the store is I may post the link on Facebook a couple times or LinkedIn or whatever it is, and people will look at it, but you don't get buys. They'll like it or whatever the case is, um, but they may not buy it. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I faced. But I'm currently working to overcome it through, like you guys said, more social media posts and more engagement and awareness through that, and really making sure people understand what the brand represents. But I think that that's the biggest challenge that I faced, which is a good thing when you think about it, because I'm sure many other brands and companies face many other challenges besides the one thing that I'm facing is then not getting enough sales.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think in the 3 years that I started with you guys, I've 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 at least gotten a couple different sales throughout the year, throughout the various calendar years. So it may not be like every week or consistent, which I'm trying to overcome, but I know a lot of other brands have many other challenges. So I'm very fortunate in that realm that that's the only main challenge that I have to overcome.
So the way people get sales is by promoting and being out there and offering specials, or like when we're done with this podcast, we could put a coupon code in the description and people to give people an incentive to go on and to buy a shirt. And I'm sure that there are other people that will then tell your friend, you tell your friend, you tell your friend, because honest to God, all the advertising that we do, and we do advertise newspapers, networking groups, going to events, having tables. There's a lot of different things. As opportunities come up, I usually jump on them. One of our big thing is we do the T-shirt contest every year for the kids, and one of the artists, he's disabled also. He had a stroke, and he's using art as his therapy after his stroke. So, and he's an artist, artsy fartsy artist, and so we take all these opportunities to market. If not, people have no idea that you're even there. You have a great idea, you have a great plan, you're working, doing other thing, advocating, for disabled people, for their homes and for their life. And people still don't know that you have a store unless you promote that store. And so the way to do that is to, you got to think of it. It's like your home. You got to open the door. You got to throw a party. You have to, how did you meet friends when you were going into school, to school? You would go to school every day. You would talk to them every day. And that's how you make friends. And people, as you said, people will do business with people that they know, that they trust, and that they like. I know that's like a expression that kind of gets a little old and boring, but that's really the truth of it. And when we were talking before the podcast, I would say that most of our customers that have been consistent customers are from I'm going to say word of mouth, but I'm not quiet. So, I mean, I'm not like a loudmouth or anything, but I will tell people what I do when I meet them. and other people, you have no idea what they do. So you're not going to utilize their services if you have no idea what they do. So getting yourself out there, as uncomfortable as it is for a lot of people, not everybody wants to, be talking about, and they think I'm talking about myself all the time. But I'm sure that there are, you have a niche audience. Your audience is a specific niche. And you told us the other day that there are 3 types of people that will date disabled people. You want to share that with everybody?
Oh yeah, in my experience, I found that there are 3 types of people that will date that are more likely to date disabled people. Not to say um, that there's no exceptions, but from what I've noticed, usually people that have family members who have disabilities, um, or people that are in the disability field, they're an occupational therapist, physical therapist, um, doc. Well, I don't know about doctor, but let's say doctor. Um, Anybody who's or a speech pathologist, anybody who's really in those fields. And then there's also people that, like I said, have um, are just empathetic towards people with disabilities or open-minded. That's really what I found from my experience. Um, or who don't really have those preconceptions open, or may have heard those conceptions, but they're just willing to throw out the window and give people a chance. That's just the key when you're dating somebody with a disability, just like you would date anybody. You ideally you would hope that when somebody asks you out on a date, as long as you're single, as long as you're willing to make it work, that you would just give them a chance. That's all. We're not saying you have to be a husband or a wife, whatever the case is. You just have to give it a chance.
Right. And you still have to be charming, right?
Yeah, of course.
Right.
If I'm not doing a good job, then and you're attracted to me based on the fact that you're just not attracted to me, that's one thing. But I think I'm pretty charming and funny and have a good personality, so I think someone would be, as evident in the past. So
Right. I think it's hard enough to date. You know, it's hard enough to date as it is. So, but so if you have, what you're saying is people that have other disabled people in their family because they're more understanding of a situation. That's one. The other you said is in the people in the medical field, and I kind of want to touch on that a little bit because what I have noticed about, let's say, some nurses that I'm friendly with that are caretakers for elderly, they don't look at elderly people as being old. They love listening to their stories. They embrace them, and their children embrace them. Like I've kind of like picked up on that, and it's really nice when I see that. I'm like, this is the way it should be. This is really nice because it shows me a little bit of difference than some people that I know that are standoffish if you're not exactly like they are, and if you're not totally exactly like they are, the same age group, same race, same financial position, same education level. If you're not in their bubble or their square, then they have nothing to do with you. Well, you know what? To hell with those people. I like when I see other people that they're raising their children to think that like people who are disabled or people who are older are just as wonderful or even more wonderful because you probably have better stories then it's beautiful. It goes back to your love that you're talking about, and it's beautiful. And so anyway, so I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but I see the difference in people, and you want somebody in your life that is understanding and kind, and and open, and that's who you want. You don't want people in your life that are going to, look at you differently or feel differently towards you. Probably you want
Right.
feelings. It's the feelings. Mhm.
Right, and also not to, require things on anybody, but obviously, I want somebody who's going to be able to take care of me. So, cooking for me, because I'm not going to be able to cook for me. So when my aide is not there, it would be nice to have have a girlfriend that could potentially cook, lunch for me or dinner for me, or bring me lunch or stuff like that. Just like really take care of me and be my best friend and my rock, and
Mhm.
That's really what I'm looking for.
Can she order lunch if she can't cook?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's
Yeah.
not a requirement. Yes. So yeah, she can order lunch as long as she pays. Because I'm, you know, the first date I'll pay, but then I like it to be 50-50. That's what I think. It's important.
Right, right. You're a modern man. What can we say, right?
Yeah.
So how can people, well, Guillermo, again, you have some more questions because we have a list here. I don't know if you're looking at your list of
Oh, I
questions.
mean, we already have all the questions that one that's Mary was going to ask you how people can support or be involved in the Love on a Roll.
Well, that's a good question, and one of the things I'll tell you guys to wrap up is I do have a book that I co-wrote, that I'm co-writing with somebody. It's should be coming out relatively soon, around maybe February at some point. Um, so I'll give you guys more details, but it's really about what we've talked about, sharing stories about. It's not going to be about love or dating. That will be a forthcoming book that I've been working on for a while, on my insights on dating. So you can look out for that. But this is about really accessibility and insights about that, and the world kind of thing, the state of the world, and how people can kind of get involved with that. So you can look out for that book. That's a really good resource for that. Other than that, just give me your email, reach out to me in any way that you can get involved. I would be greatly appreciative. With however you can help and join the movement would be greatly appreciated. Support is the main thing, and just learn to become an ally for people with disabilities, and however I can help with that, whether it be services or non-services, and I'm just helping you as an individual, I would love to do that. But however you're able to get involved and support me would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome. And you're on TikTok. What's your handle on TikTok? Love on a Roll?
Love on a roll. Everything is love on a roll. Pretty straightforward and simple. And all my social media is love on a roll. And then my email address is loveonaroll@gmail.com for business purposes. And my phone number I'll give you guys is 954-292-1142.
We'll put all this in the description. Everything will be in the description too.
Yeah, and then that's how you can get a hold of me. But I would be glad to talk to anybody. Hopefully this helps you and inspires you and impacts you in some way, and we're able to work together, and you're able to check out my store and um, you know get involved. And I hope we do a special, and put a discount code below for everyone, because I would like
We
that.
will, because we want people to be wearing Love on a Roll. It was very impactful when we did a podcast about messages and how a shirt has a message on it, and it just says everything. So when people are wearing your shirt, when you're wearing your shirt, you're out there and you're putting yourself out there, and you're just speaking Love on a Roll right in front of people. They don't even have to ask you about it. They just see it. So let's all go to Garrett's Make a Tea store. It's loveonaroll.makeateaonline.com. And you can buy his Love on a Roll shirt. You can buy the beautiful poem and his other designs. Help support Garrett, help support people with disabilities. And everything will be in the description. You can click on it. And Garrett, thank you so much for spending an hour with Guillermo and I. And it was great talking to you. And Guillermo, do you have any last thoughts? I think
Yeah,
Guillermo's
Garrett, what would you say to? Can you hear me? Okay. What would you say to other persons that with disability that want to do the same thing that you are doing right now? What advice, just to close it up and
Okay, well, first of all, I would say don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything. Don't let anyone tell you you can. To quote the great Will Smith, because I love him and I love this movie. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something. Uh, don't. And you have a dream, you have a desire, you believe you have a purpose to do something similar. Just do it and work with great people like Meryl and Gamro, and they will help you. You need it's a good support system around you, and beautiful souls such as Meryl and Gamro are the people that you need to reach out to help you, not just for your merchandise. Look for the right people to help you with your business and your brand and mentors, and that's all you need. And you got this. And I'm here to support anyone who needs advice in any way.
love it.
thank you, Garrett. Thank you for spending an hour with us.
Love it. And let me ask you one quick question. If you had a date for Saturday night, where would you take her?
That's a good question. Um, well, I love hibachi, so I would probably. That's not a good first date. That's a fancy first date. So let me say that I did a little extreme. Probably a Mexican place. I would take her something not as fancy for the first, because you don't want to do that for like I mean you do, but if you don't have if you're not rich, something simple.
Okay. Okay. All right. So any girls out there want a Saturday night date with some tacos and some fun? Maybe we'll put that in the
Reach out to
description.
Garrett.
Okay. All right.
Sounds
Thank you,
good.
everybody. Thank you for spilling the tea, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye for now.
Next time.